The screen is visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are basically HTML means what? Hypertext to markup language. Based upon HTML commands, we can able to create the one new web page based upon commands like header and then body part and then using heading file like that HTML tags. By using HTML tags, we can able to create the web page. Okay. HTML output as a web page by using HTML tags. Okay. In 1980s, Tim Bernstein-Lee, who was an independent contractor at Serin, proposed an prototype Enquire, a hypertext system for Serin researchers to use the sharp documents. Okay. In 1989, Bernstein-Lee and CERN data system engineer Robert each submitted separate proposal based on the internet-based hypertext system provided similar functionality. Okay, and then in 1990s collaborated with on a joint proposal as a World Wide Web project which is accepted by Serin. Okay. Previously, it is the introduction of based upon 1980s. It has established, and then in 1989, based upon the HTML or internet-based, that is submitted of the two proposals. In 1990s, it has been combined together, and then it has formed as a World Wide Web project. Okay. It is a basic commands, commonly HTML tags which are used for parameters. First starting we have to declaration as a HTML, and then header tag means delimits the page, heads, and then title of the project not on the page. Okay, and then body means what are the content to be displayed on the HTML. H/n means delimits the level of n headings. B means bold face. If you want to give the particular letters in bold means we can give as a B. Italic means high. And then we want to in the particular page we want to the content to be in the center means we can give a center. UL means unordered list. Without bulleted means it is assigned as a unordered list. UL, and then ordered list. Ordered list means it is numbered as 1, 2, 3 like that, like this. And then list means based upon there is a number. Based upon the number of lists will be there. That you can use as a command as a LI. And then BR means a break after one sentence or one paragraph. You want to give a break. Break means we can use the command as BR, and then P means starting of the paragraph. We can use the P command. HR means horizontal, insert the horizontal rule. And then if you want to insert any image and display the image on the screen means we can use as a image src equal to double quotes what are the image name, file name or like that. And then by using hyperlink want to give means we can use as a AH reference equal to hyperlink. If you want to at the runtime in HTML there is a hyperlink. Based upon the hyperlink, want to click that hyperlink, want to give the output means based upon that the hyperlink can be given to the on the output of the web page. Okay, these are the basic commands commonly used in the HTML. Okay. Next topic is FTP. FTP means file transfer protocol. File transfer protocol in the sense it is a standard protocol provided by the TCP/IP for copying a file from one host to another. Although transferring files from one system to another seems simple and then straightforward, some problem must be dealt with first. Okay, here where the local system is there, from the local system there will be a connected with the client interface, client system. In the client interface, what are the process can be done? User interface, control process, and then data transfer process. Okay, all these process can be performed in the client side. And then in the server side, control process which is going to connect the control connection between the client and the server. Okay, and then data transfer process is used for data transmission between the data connection to be established between the client and server for transmitting the data. And then from the server there will be a remote file system. In the remote file system, it will be transferred the data transfer process. From the data transfer process, here client side data transfer process, from the data client side data transfer process, it is converted to the local file system. So it is a four things are to be done in the FTP. First one is a local file system, and then client system, and then server system, and then remote file system. All these process form together, and then transferring file within one to another is assigned as a file transfer protocol. Okay. Here the file transfer protocol mechanism provide the TCP/IP hopping all kind of files from one host to another. Defined in RFC 959 in 1985. Okay, the FTP uses the services of TCP. It needs two connections. It is needs two connection for two process. Like for for control connection, it needs one connection, and then for data connection, it needs another connection. So by using the port number 21, we can use for control connection, and then for port 20 can be used for data connection. So based upon the process to be executed, that two connections can be used for transmitting the data from one to another. Okay, here two connection in the sense here control connection also we are told what is where the control connections are used means by using the telnet where it uses the NVT ASCII character used by the telnet. Communication is achieved through the commands and responses. This simple method is adequate for the control connection because we send one command or respond at a command. Each line is terminated with a two characters carriage in and line field. So based upon the line of end of line is token is implemented. So based upon the here what is the process done in this by using the commands only we can able to transmit the by using commands we can request the command by using telnet commands. With the help of request there will be a response also on the basis of command. So by using the control connection the FTP process can be implemented. Okay, here the FTP sessions, the control sessions remain connected during the entire interactive FTP session. So the data connections is open, then it is closed for each file transfer activity. By using the data transfer means at the time of transmission, if a data connection can be opened. After completion, it can be closed in the data connection part. So it opens each time commands that involves transferring file or it closes when the file is transferred. Okay, after the completion of transferring the files, it automatically the file will be terminated or it can be closed automatically. Okay, here the some FTP commands. What are the FTP commands? For abort you use the ABOR about the previous command. What is we are used our previous commands as some commands means that want to be aborted means we can use the command as ABOR, that is abort the previous command. CDUP means change the parent directory. There will be a, for example, we can say D drive is there. In the D drive, we will be storing another folder. In the another folder itself, we are creating another folder based upon the parent will be parent directory means what? Either D drive or E drive. We are changing the parent directory. If we are using currently we are using D drive means the parent directory E drive should be changed. That is the directory, changing the parent directory. Okay, CWD direct name, changing the another directory name. DLE means deleting a particular file. Okay, and then list means directory name, list the subdirectories or files, list the number of files in a particular directory or number of files in the subdirectory. All this can be displayed by using the list. MKD means that is assigned for the creating the new directory. Based upon the new directory, the commands are executed between the source and destination. So here next the server chooses the port as a PASV. PASV means it server chooses the port as a port number. Okay, client means only it assigns the port PORT. PASV means changes the port number for server. If you want to change the client port means client identifier means it can be used as a command as a PORT. Then PW means displays the current directory. What is the current directory you are using? Like that, it is displays the current directory. Quit means log out the system. Log out the particular system. It is used as a quit. Okay, and then RETR means it is used to retrieve the files from server to client. It is a retrieving process which is requested by the client. That file can be retrieved from server to client. Okay. RMD means it is used to delete the directory. Okay, deleting the directory, you can use the RMD. Okay, RNFR means identify the file to be renamed. If you want to file the rename, if in the file name ABC is there, another file also I am saving as a ABC. So at this time it will be shows the indication as a you want to replace the file or rename the file. Based upon that, it will be given as a we will rename the particular file name, or we can use the file replacement with the help of RNFR. It is used to rename the file name. Okay. Another commands is RNTO means renaming a new file name. If you have created a file name that can be renamed means we can use it as a RNFR. Okay. STOR means store the file which is a client from server to client process. So it is used to transfer the files from client to server process. STOR. And then next is STRU. STRU means it defines the data organization. F indicates a file, R indicates a record, P indicates a page. Based upon these three processes can be combined together and perform the operation. And then type TAI. AAI means A indicates the ASCII value, E indicates the EDC, DIC, and then I indicates the image. Next is the user command. User command means it uses the user ID. And then based upon the here user ID, there will be using a commands as a defining the user information about it can be used as the client side or server side based upon the user information. And then mode SBC. S indicates the stream, B indicates a block, C indicates the compress. All these combined together to form the mode of process. Okay. Some responses, these previous things and all we have seen the request commands. We are seeing the response commands. Response commands in the sense 125 uses the data connection open, 150 uses the file status okay, 200 uses the commanded okay, 220 service ready, 221 service reclosing, and then 225 data connection open, and then 226 choosing their data connection, and then here 250 requested the file action. file action okay, like that, and then 331 uses the username password. If you are giving the username in the mail, this we can say as a email ID. In the email ID you are giving the username and then password, means based upon the username only, if a password correct only, the particular Gmail can be entered. If user ID or email any password is wrong, means that login is failed. Okay, and then 421 cannot open the data connection. It is used for not opening the data connection. And then 450 file action not taken. File action is not taken by the control process, which is used to transmit the data between the client and the server. Okay, file action is used for accepting the file, which is either in the aborted stage or in the syntax error, which is used to transmit that error, which is used to syntax error, recognize unrecognized command, which is used for the parameters. For 51 is used for parameters or arguments, and then 530 is used for user not login. Based upon the for response code, these are the response code used in the FTP. Okay, data connection. What is the data connection? Here data connection used as a well-known port 20 at the server side. However, the creation of data connection is different from the control connection. Here it is different from the control connection, which is going to connect the client and the server. The client, not a server, issues us a passive open using an MRL port. Okay, using the port command, the client sends the port number to the server. The server receives the port number and then issues the active open. There is a active open. We can use the command for transmitting the data between the server to client. Okay, and then received emperor port number. And then received emperor port number means for the transmission of data from server to client process. For that, based upon the commands replied by the server side, it can be used as a basic commands or basic port number. It can be used as a port number which is used to connect the server and the client. Say example, see here in this example, the file is using the FTP for entering a file. The figure shows only one file to be transferred. The control connection remains open all the time, but the data connection is opened and closed repeatedly. We assume the file is transferred 6 sections. 6 sections means after all records have been transferred, the server control process announces that the control process announces the file transfer is done. Since the client control process has no file to retrieve, it issues the quit command, which causes the server connection to be closed. Okay, here the first of all, from this client side there is a request service ready can be transmitted from client to server based upon the user information, that is can be user information based upon next process is username password. Username password is user login and then password, and then based upon that the port number is allocated with the help of server to client process, and then type EDDC will be okay with the help of that commands SDU or retrieve commands. All this process will be processed between the client to process, and then recording the file. Last is this green indication shows the recording the file from client to server, and then final process after completion of all the process, closing the data connection. After completion of data transfer means it will be closing the data connection. Finally, it will be transmitting the quit command for closing the connection. From the server, it is the service will be closed from the server to client process. Okay, here the actual following shows the actual FTP session that lists the directories. See, at the time of transmitting the login issues at the time of transmitting a login session password, and then file transfer. All these transaction will be executed in the form of directory or in the form of command prompt. So after completion of all the process, the FTP will transmit the quit command for closing the connection. So by using this example, we will be connecting the login successful with the help of remote connection, and then file transferring with the help of source to destination in the help of client to server machine. With the help of connection establishment, all the data to be connected from the server to client process. This example shows how they are transmitting the data from client to server in the form of directory to directory or from server to client process. Okay, another example, how we are giving the security, for FTP. The FTP protocol was designed when the security was not a big issue, although there will be a FTP requires the password is sent in plain text, unencrypted, which means it has an interrupted and use an attacker where the data transfer connection also transfer the plain text, which is insecure. To be secure, one can add the secure socket layer between the FTP application layer and the TCP layer. In this case, FTP uses the FTP is called as a Ssl Ftp. It is to also exploit some secure file transfer application, which is we will discuss SSH in later chapter. Okay, if you are giving the commands means plain text will be which is not converting the original message to plain text, and then plain text will be assigned as a unencrypted data. Okay, if you are, for example, if you want to send the message or password to another means unauthorized person do not want to see the particular message, so it can be converted from plain text to ciphertext. It is a plain text will be assigned as a unencrypted data, which is given a password. Some password will be given to the plain text that can be converted to ciphertext for security purposes. The ciphertext can be converted to plain text on the server side or in the user side, which is who is going to receive the particular plain text. Okay, this is the main purpose used in the security purpose used in the FTP. Okay, up to this FTP topic is over. Next is email. Email means electronic mail, which is used to which allows the user to exchange message. The nature of this application is different from one application discussed so far. This means that the idea of client and server programming should be implemented in another way using some intermediate computers servers. Okay, by using the internet, we are transmitting the mail from one email to another mail. This is also one type of data transmission between the client to server. Who is with the help of server means here server will be assigned as a internet. With the help of internet only, we can able to transmit the email from one to another. Either it can be Gmail user, or it can be either Yahoo Mail or Reddit Mail. Either whatever mail it can be transmitting the email from one user to another with the help of WAN connection. WAN connection means what? LAN. LAN means it is used with the help of LAN connection. Which is connected with the internet. It is not required for WAN. WAN is not required here. The variation scenario does not affect the discussion. Okay, see the architecture of email. Architecture of email means see here UA means user agent, that is who is going to transmit, user going to transmit the mail. This MTA means message transfer agent. It is going to Gmail server. Gmail server will be act as a MTA. Here that will be transmitted to Gmail server. Okay, from the Gmail server, MTA server to MTA client will be transmitted, and then MTA client will be this mail server. Mail server will be transmitted with the help of internet. That will be transmitted to another mail server. For example, spooler means after if it is showing the sending process, if I am send the mail, it is showing it is sending like that. It is sending. It's showing the sending. Sending means that is under the process of spooling process. After it is shows the send means the particular mail will be transmitted to the Gmail server. Okay, from the Gmail client, it will be transmitted through the internet process. It will be transmitted to the agent, message agent server. Okay, server to, and then inbox. It will be transmitted to inbox, and then boxes. It will be transmitted to MAA. MAA means message access agent. Message access agent. From the message agent server to client will be there, and then finally from the client to user agent. So here n number of processes will be transmitted. See, if you are sending the mail means how many processes will be transmitted. We are the user agent. Here one will be assigned as a user agent, and then another n side will be assigned as a user agent. In between process, between the client to server, MTA client to server, and then MTA server to MTA client, and then MTA client to server. By using the internet, there will be MTA server, and then from the server to MAA message access agent, and then server to client process. By using all this process, there will be a LAN or WAN connection, which is going to transmit the internet between the going to transmit the mail between the client to server. Okay, here it can be used the alias. There can be used as a either it can be used as a LAN or WAN process. Here in the receiver side, there will be using as a LAN or WAN by using the process executed in the file transfer process, which is used in the email process. Okay, here what is the example? This format shows the normal. We are transmitting the postal email. If you are going to particular post office, we are writing the letter, and then we are pasting the any stamp, and then what is the subject? We want to inform any network issue based upon that. It is the content used in the postal mail. This is the same equivalent to electronic mail, means mail from mail it is received, and then recipient to which mail we want to transmit. This is the envelope part. This is from whom we are going to send, and then to which we are going to transmit the mail. That's a header part. Header part which is assigned as a from to date and then subject. In which subject we are going to, what is the subject of the content to be transmitted between the server to client or Gmail. Okay, it is assigned as a subject. These all four things will be assigned as a header part, and then body part. Body part is assigned as a content, and then yours faithfully. All this comes under the body part. Okay, all this body part and then header part will be combined together, will form a message part. This will be combined together, and then it is assigned as a message part. This is the process used in the electronic mail. You can able to send, you can able to see what is the difference in postal mail and then electronic mail, how we are transmitting, what is the difference between the postal mail and then electronic mail. Okay, so this diagram shows the protocol used in the email. Okay, what is the protocol we are using? From the client side, there will be a sending a client to server, and then here SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol. SMTP means abbreviation, simple mail transfer protocol. Okay, by using this protocol, that can be transmitted from client to server side. So with the help of mail server, that will be transmitting from mail server to server. For example, I am using Gmail, I am transmitting means from Gmail server to another Gmail server. Okay, I am using Yahoo, we are sending the mail to Yahoo means it will be in the left hand side, server side to server client, which it uses the Gmail server. Gmail server means, and the opposite receiver using means Yahoo server means that by using the help of internet that can be connected with the help of internet, it can be connected between the server to client process. So it can be used as a server to client process and then actually client to server process. So with the help of this process, the data can be transmitted between the one server to another server, and then another server to finally client will be transmitted. That is the email receiver. This email sender will be assigned as a alias BOB. BOB is assigned as a email receiver. Okay, these are the process used in the email address. Okay, MTM is a message transfer agent. With the help of message transfer agent only, it can be transmitted from client to server within a server, mail server to within a mail server to another client will be transmitted. From the client, it will be transmitting through the internet, it will be transmitting to server. With the help of server to client, there will be using a post office protocol. POP means post office protocol is used to transmit the server to client process. Okay, these are the SMTP commands. What are the SMTP commands means we are transmitting the mail. What are the commands used at the time of transmitting? Okay, here HELO means used for host name, sending the host name. Mail from means identifies the sender of the mail. Recipient to means identifies the recipient message. Okay, data means body of the mail. Quit means terminate the message. Reset means abort the current mail transaction. And then turn means it used for recipient switches the to expand and the mailing system. And then help is used for any recipient to send the information about the command sent to the argument. Sent from means specifies that the mail can be delivered to an recipient based upon the process to be executed in the mailbox. Send from means intended recipient. SMOL means it's also used as a for terminal mailbox to be sent from server to client process. Here and then specifies a mailbox delivered to the terminal, and then here the mailbox is assigned as a recipient. Okay, if it's showing the sending process, if the mail showing error means that will be stored in the spam box or outbox. If a particular mail I send that mail is not sended means that will be stored in the outbox. After if any due to technical issue or internet issue means if you want to resend it means from the outbox to that will be that mail can be transmitted to the inbox, the receiver inbox. Okay. This is responder commands. What is the code responded in the SMTP responded commands? 211 uses the system status, 214 help message, 220 service ready, service closing the channel, request command completed, user not local. All these commands, and then 450 will be using the mail not available. 451 command aborted, which is used for this process. We can use these kind of commands for coding can be used for transmitting the mail from user to client or from client to server. This responded will be used as a responded SMTP responded messages, which is used to transmitted from server to client process. This is the same continuation commands is the example example of how we are transmitting the mail from SMTP client to server. This diagram shows the which is used as a SMTP client, and then first of all there will be a connection establishment between the client to server, and then from the data transmission from mail server to mail client, with the help of data transmission it is used to transmit the data between the client to server side process. And then here the data transmission which is assigned as a body part, as assigned as a data transmission part. And then finally we use the quit command. By using the quit command, connection will be terminated. Okay, this is the POP server. This is a post office protocol email server. How we are connecting this post office protocol is used for checking the email ID and then password. If this protocol is used for login purpose. If you are giving the email ID, username and then password, means this by using the POP post office protocol only, the particular email ID, particular password is okay only, the email can be logged in. That is the POP protocol can be used here as a login purposes. Here MIME means this is used as a non-ASCII code from user client to another process. It is used as a 7-bit ASCII code from email system to another process. This is the how we are converting the process from one agent to another process with the email system through the internet process. How we are transmitting the process. Okay, this is the type of commands used in the subtype. What is the commands description? All these process used in the methods used for encoding and decoding process used in the MIME. Okay, it's how we are converting the basic non-ASCII codes. Confined will be splitted into ASCII code. First of all, we are giving the set of bits that will be converted 6-bit chunks that will be converted as a base 64 converter followed by the 4 characters. Okay, this here converter, the value of 0 will be assigned as a from A to Z. A to capital A to Z, what is the character, and then small a to small z, what is the character code value, and then numbers from 0 to 9, and then plus slash, what are the commands for that we are using the values. This based upon these values only the base 64 command is used for processing. Okay, this is how we are providing the security for email security. SMTP client will be transmitted from the server to client by using the internet. There will be a transmitting the server from the server is using the HTTP transaction. This is a web-based email access from case 1 to case 2. Here MI is used as a MI means multi-purpose internet mail extension. Multi-purpose email extension means based upon the web-based process, it can be transmitted the email from client to server process. Up to this email topic is over. Next we can discuss about Telnet in next class. Up to this, you have any doubt? Okay, thank you to all.